Hello everyone, I'm Todd Hilton from Nowhere Video Productions, and this is Nowhere Video's Afterthoughts. This is a video blog program I started to cover random topics that have no importance whatsoever, but they are fun topics nonetheless. Joining me, once again, is Mr. Chris DeBois.
Hello.
And as we discussed in a previous edition of Afterthoughts, we thought it might be fun to break out something that has been in my possession for a very long time and has been a staple of Nowhere Video Productions also for a very long time. It is
The mysterious
Nowhere Video Prop Box. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, not the box necessarily itself, but as a piece.
What's inside it? Yeah.
What's inside the box has been part of Nowhere Video for a long time. These are props that have served us very well, and being in video production for a long time, you tend to collect valuable props because more than likely you will end up needing certain items more than once, which is definitely the case for us. So,
a lot of reuse out of some of this stuff.
Yes, and I think I mentioned before that everything in this box has its own story, and we'll talk about some of the various clips, scenes, skits that these items have been involved in, and I think it'll be a little interesting to see some of these again.
Probably. Some of this, I'm pretty sure that, you know, I don't even know what in the heck's in here, so.
So this ought to be
a blast from the past.
This will be fun here. A lot of this stuff has not been used for a very long time, but it's stuff that I've kept in the collection just in case it might need to be used again. Or, in this case, just makes a fun thing to talk about. So, let's dive right in. Ladies and gentlemen, the box is open. See anything that sparks your interest in there? Where to begin, folks? Well, we discussed these before, and I'll just briefly reiterate what was said before. These are what are known as the Chuckles glasses. When Chris and I were first friends over 30 years ago, we had a singing group called the Chuckles, based on the candy of the same name. And these are glasses that we wore when we sang our songs and held on to them years later. And we made a couple of music videos. And yeah, we wore these ridiculous 80s glasses.
We were kids. What do you want?
Yeah. Did you need to try these on? For old time's sake?
Old time's sake?
Yeah. I can't see it all.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, upside down. Really?
Yeah. I think we started that discussion before, and I don't remember why we chose to wear them upside down. Do you remember?
I think it was just to be different. I mean, to be perfectly honest.
That could be all it was. Just to do something different and try to stand out. And
I mean, heck, just a few years later, everybody was wearing their hats sideways, cockeyed. People just, you know, so it was just kind of, I guess we were ahead of the time.
Yeah, but I will tell you that wearing those upside down is extremely uncomfortable.
That it is.
Okay. You know what? This box is kind of in the damn way. So,
yeah,
how do we do this here? I'm going to just kind of move it off to the side, and I'll just kind of sit it on my lap. That way, you folks get a better view of what's going on here. Next up is...
well, it's like three of those that I see right off the top can probably introduce just one. But.
Yeah, well, if I remember correctly, well, I'll just pull these out here. We have a variety of liquor bottles, which I'm sure none of them were drank by us.
For those of you that are familiar with any of the productions throughout the years, I think most of these were pretty much done by one character, maybe.
Yes.
But a couple who's obviously an alcoholic.
Yes. We were speaking of Chris's character named Clarence Claude. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe this collection of bottles was only used in one skit, if I remember correctly. And that would have been one that we referred to as Clarence Claus from... was that Parental Advisory 1 or 2? I think that was 1.
1.
Yeah, Parental Advisory 1, which came out in 1995. Basically, Clarence Claude was supposedly at a mall and got mistaken for Santa Claus because he was wearing a Santa Claus hat. And he was giving away bottles of booze as Christmas presents.
The gift that keeps on giving right there.
That it is, Edward. That it is. Unfortunately, there is one bottle missing. I'm sure you know which one that is.
The wine jug.
The actual signature wine bottle that was Clarence Claude. It was way bigger than these other bottles, and whenever we did a Clarence Claude skit, that was his bottle. I'm not entirely sure if that one still exists. It did not make it into the prop box. It actually wouldn't have fit in here.
No. I'd say break out the other one that's been used a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah. This is a good one, folks. I'm thinking there might possibly be a spot for this one last time. This, by far, has been the most used prop in this entire box and probably in Nowhere Video's history. It is the shotgun. Or what we call the shotgun. This, folks, I'm not even sure if I can name all the skits this thing has been in. There is some history behind this beyond Nowhere Video, believe it or not. My cousin Jeff, also part of the Nowhere Video family, he actually taped up this, I don't know if it was a dart gun, a water gun, I'm not entirely sure. But he taped it up with electrical tape many, many years ago. Well, it would have been over 20 years ago now.
Right.
And I have only ever seen it in this form. But back in the VHS days, this looked fairly realistic on camera. In the HD days, not so much. You can definitely tell this thing...
It's wrapped up in tape.
It's wrapped up in tape. This thing is fake. It's, it doesn't even have a trigger. But I remember cutting along this edge here because it had... I'm not even a gun person. I don't know how this works, but
your pump
that you can reload, and it does that. That's like the most important part of this thing.
Absolutely.
But so this, let's see if we can name off a few that this has been used.
Dead Homies Society. We've got Reverend Wadnick.
Yep.
Well, that's like one of the WTHC.
Yes, WTHC News.
And I think that's all I remember at this moment.
Also from Livewire, it was used in Juice, which is kind of an obscure skit. Dead Homie Society was probably the best example of using this gun.
Tombstone Pizza. I forgot about that.
Tombstone Pizza. Headstone Pizza.
Headstone Pizza, sorry.
Which was making fun of Tombstone Pizza. Yeah, it was used in that one. All hilarious skits. I think every time we've used this thing, it's been an entertaining skit of some sort. As I said, this thing has actually been kind of semi-retired for many years. It has not been used or seen in a Nowhere Video production in quite a long time. But I may possibly have one last use for it. I'm not going to go into detail, but I think it'll make sense when people see it. Because it is a fake gun, and it will no longer look like a real gun because we're dealing with HD, folks, and it's Yeah, it's fake. So, it's plastic and covered in tape. So, moving on, we do have a number of items from the DeBois film, The Housefly. And it's kind of funny that many of these things have survived. Some of these, I don't even know why I kept. This is an obscure item. Goggles. Which, as far as I know...
Not only for protection.
Yeah. They were used in one shot, in one scene. My character, Guy, diving over the bed, trying to get away from the housefly, and I pop up from behind the bed, and suddenly, I have these goggles on. So, I think that's the only thing these were used for.
Yeah.
Can't think of any other video, and they're kind of turning yellow, and they're definitely showing their age.
They've been around a while.
Again,
you probably got these from your dad anyway.
Most likely, because I seriously doubt we went out and bought goggles. I probably just latched onto them. So, moving on. Also from the housefly. This one has actually seen better days.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the the fly swatter used in the housefly. Do you remember the scene? One shot.
How was it? I don't remember that.
Me sitting...
I'm drawing a blank.
Sitting in the rocking chair, reading, and suddenly, the fly's on my nose.
The nose! Yeah, oh my gosh.
Yep. So this was that fly swatter used in that one shot. Again, my mom probably just had this laying around. Either that, or you might have brought this. You know what? You may have brought this, because I don't really remember my parents ever using a fly swatter. This doesn't seem like something we usually had laying around.
I don't know.
Yeah, you may have.
So long ago, I don't remember.
Yeah. This was bought from High School Pharmacy. That had to come from you then.
High School Pharmacy? Yeah, there hasn't been one of those for a long time.
No, that was out of St. Helens.
Yep.
Yeah, and that place has been gone for a long time. So I'm thinking that you brought that in. So, yeah, and it's definitely seen better days. Here's another interesting little prop. Again, really, only used once. Also from the housefly. This is a...
thrown off references in the housefly since you didn't know what time frame it was. This is actually one of the first scenes in...
And only seen in the TV cut.
Yeah.
This calendar, which is turned to July of 1977, we never really decided when the housefly was supposed to take place. You kind of see elements from different decades. So there's never really a definitive time frame where it takes place. But this particular calendar came out of my dad's shop, and most likely was hanging there since 1977. Because it was way back in a far corner where no one could possibly get to it. And I snagged it off the wall, and it was like, man, what a great piece. Even this company, Big O Tires in St. Helens, has also not been there for a very long time. If I'm not mistaken, that place burned to the ground. Long time ago. Another one from the housefly, folks. And this, well, I will let you dig into
Obviously,
that.
the biggest set of props we have are from the housefly because it's the one that we had to get, in a sense, the most stuff for.
Most definitely.
Off of our own here.
And there are several pieces in this little wadded up paper bag here.
The housefly consisted of several different flies, obviously, which is explained in the making of.
Yes.
But this one I'm not familiar with the names that we actually give to the flies, but
well, we had a name for the big one.
As we stated, you know, it's like we turned around and spent what, $6 or something like that, total in quarters, just to get a fly big enough that would show up on the screen.
Yeah.
Well enough. Granted, not too much detail. Wings don't move, anything like that, but that is the main Mamma Jamma fly of the whole production right there.
For our purposes, that one fit the bill because it had a lot of detail and it was big enough for us to maneuver the way that we wanted to.
Because the rest of the flies that we got were in a bag of, what, 100 or something like that?
Yeah. And they're
just these little dinky things, that, you know, and it's like
and they're
hardly any detail, just basically looked like a blob on the wall.
Yeah.
After a while.
So they're basically life-size flies, which were fine for background shots and for most of the scenes that we did. But the finale, we had to go with the we called it Big Bertha, also known as the $6 fly.
Right.
And then also in that little bag, we have some remnants that we didn't use.
Crazy Carl. The only time that appearing in there, and his one at least cameo for the production was our mixed characters of Groucho Marx and
unintentional, by the way.
Unintentional, yeah.
Yeah, that turned out to be kind of
It's like the Exterminator by John Goodman in Arachnophobia. Yeah, mixed with Groucho Marx.
Yeah. But I can
cigars that he threw several times.
Well, I can say that I do remember this. I can tell you folks, these cigar halves were not screen used. I know this because in the scene shot outside, walking up to the door, Crazy Carl is actually smoking the cigar because you can see smoke rolling off of it. It is possible that we used another one for inside the house because, again, once he walks in the house, he just magically has another one in his mouth. Which,
well, yeah, there was absolutely no smoking in your mom's house. So
yeah,
obviously it wasn't lit or anything else. It was just cut
so
in half.
It was strictly for the look because it was funny, and that's one thing that we did throughout the housefly. Is a little something that I like to call intentional discontinuity.
And we do that a lot.
Yes, and it was hilarious. Couple more pieces from the housefly. We have...
Once again.
The for sale sign. Now... Huh, that's weird. It's like exact opposite. There you go. Oh, that's so weird. We have the for sale sign, and it's actually double-sided. One side is normal, and one side is a mirror image. This is actually done intentionally because the housefly was edited in a mirror image. Basically, the reasoning was to try to make my parents' house look like a different house. And I think that was...
It's been used in several productions, not just the housefly, so, we did the reverse to give it a whole different look. And it succeeded.
Yeah. I want to say that...
But, it's like anything with letters or words or anything else is going to be completely noticeable.
It presented a problem, so we had to be very aware of anything in the shot that had words in it so we could avoid getting shots of those things. But the for sale sign had to be visible in the shot, so we had to make it so it could be seen. I want to say that the number wasn't necessarily random, but I could be wrong. It's actually been so long I don't remember. Your typical 555 prefix, which is like
movie California.
Usually. That's California Universal movie phone number there. But let's see. And I believe now is one of the last remnants of the housefly. And this is kind of an entire sheet here. of unused Crazy Carl business cards. Well, you can see where one was cut out, and that would have been the actual screen-used business card for one shot, I believe.
One shot.
One shot, and that's all we needed. And here's the... I had supplied... That's the... What sounds funny now is I did not make these cards. Actually, another one of the volunteers for Columbia Community Television actually printed these up for me. This is how long ago this has been. I didn't have a computer in 1996. So I was not able to make any of this kind of stuff myself. So I supplied a basic design, and her name was Teresa. She ended up doing these for me. And we used one. I think she gave us a few different options to choose from, so that's why there's several on this sheet. And corresponding sheets.